Hey there viewers, Eric O at Self-Made Auto, and we are back with another car repair video. In this video we've got a 2011 Grand Caravan, and I'm going to show you how to replace your rear hub assembly. Before we get too far after we get the wheel off, I'm going to go ahead and take our ABS wire. I'm going to follow this all the way back. This thing on the passenger side here goes all the way along the brake hose. You'll see it followed all the way around. Goes underneath the vehicle and up over the heat shield here for the muffler. So we're going to trace that wire all the way back, pull it out of all of its clips, and get that out of the way first thing. Make sure you pay attention to how it's routed, because when we get the new one, I have to put it back in just like it was. This is the connector down underneath. You're going to have to slide this red lock tab, pull it back towards the harness. And it just has a push tab. You squeeze that and pull the two halves apart. There, now we got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and remove our brake caliper bracket, or our brake caliper bolts. I'm going to use a 13mm wrench, remove both of those. Remove this bolt right here that holds the park and brake cable to the axle. That would give us a little more room to get the caliper off. Go ahead and wiggle our caliper up off there now. Set that to the side. Grab an 18mm, remove your brake caliper bracket bolts. Right around the back side of the axle here, right behind the wheel bearing, you'll see the bracket that your park and brake cable goes through. It's got a 13mm bolt holding it on. You're going to want to remove that. Next, let's go ahead and get the brake rotor off there. Right here from the back side, you'll see the 4 holes in the axle. We'll just step out of your way. Got a hole here, 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 and here. We're going to reach through there with a socket extension. We're going to get on the bolts that hold the hub assembly on. We're going to loosen those up. Now that you got all 4 bolts out, hub's probably rusted in here pretty good. At least on this one it is. So I'm just going to take and typically I'd use a slide hammer or air hammer and just come in here and just beat this off. This one here I'm going to use just a big chisel and a hammer just to show you that you definitely can do this yourself. Gotta go ahead and we gotta get this area cleaned up here. We gotta get all this old rust and corrosion off there, so use whatever means necessary you have. Sometimes it's easier to go along and chip it off first. And then grind it. Make sure you clean out inside the hole here too, because this is where the hub seizes up actually. Go ahead and put a good coating of Never Seize on there, or grease, or anything really to keep this from happening again. Now you've got everything cleaned up and ready to go. Take your tin shield that we took off, or that came off and the bearing came off, feed your speed sensor wire down through the center of it, make sure you've got this going in the right direction. Line up this slot that's in it with the speed sensor wire rather, and you'll see it stick right out the back. We're going to stick it up here how it belongs, get a couple bolts started. Now that you got one bolt started, I'm going to go through with the other three and reinstall those. Make darn sure you don't have your wire pinched behind there before you do that. Now that you got your hub on, you got it all snugged up, go ahead and torque it if you like. I think it's 41 foot-pounds or something of that nature. We're going to have to go through and put our bracket back on here, the one that's on the cable that we just took off last. Go ahead and get the bolts started in that. Now you'll see right up here at the top, it's where the brake caliper bolt goes. It has another hole in it on that bracket. Before you tighten that 13 millimeter down, make sure that these two holes are lined up, otherwise you won't be able to get your brake caliper bracket bolt in there. I want to put our brake rotor back on, but before we do, make sure this surface on the brake rotor, inside the hat of the brake rotor here, make sure there's no big chunks of rust and debris build up there, because if we put it on and there's a lot of crap in there, it can make this thing wobble going down the road. And it really doesn't take much, it only takes about 3/1000ths of an inch. To give you some lateral run out, to give you some brake pedal pulse, so make sure that's good and clean. Put a little Never Seize on your hub. Keep that rotor from getting stuck on there again. Go ahead and reinstall your brake rotor. Put our caliper bracket back on there. Get the bolt started in that. Go ahead and snug them up. Let's get our caliper set back up on. They're always kind of tricky because of that stupid Parker brake cable. I think they could have come up with a little better system there, but tighten up your brake caliper. gotta do is run our wires back where they're supposed to be. Must be a different application that uses that. We don't need it on this one. Alright. Now we're to the point where we've got to run this back up over that tin shield. So I've got that fish jumping around there, so let's go ahead and just make your connections. Make sure everything's good and clean. Get this lined up here. Put your lock tab back in. Reattach that to the brake line. I think we've got it. Well, there you have it, viewers. I think we're all finished. Go ahead and just double check everything on yours. Make sure you got all the bolts snugged up and everything's back where it belongs. Yeah, this wire didn't really fit the greatest. It's aftermarket stuff, man. It never really does, but at any rate, I hope this video is informative to you. I hope it aids and guides you if you're changing out your wheel bearing. That's pretty much it. Not a lot to know about these. It's just all nuts and bolts like anything else. So all you gotta do is remember though, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.